very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You all deserve a special appreciation for witnessing this session, being at least double in number. Biodiversity is important for better ecosystem, but at the same time, it is also important that every individual should get access to the right kind of food in enough quantity, and people should not suffer from malnutrition. And this is the topic I chose to talk before you. Now, as you all know, food is very important for survival of all living beings, including human beings. And plants constitute one of the most important sources of nutrition. Even if you are non-vegetarian in habit, still the animals will also need plants, and therefore plants have a special place. Now, food, as I said, is basic requirement of man, without which survival is at stake. Food security implies availability of food to everyone in all times to come. The FAO has defined it as a state of affairs where all people at all times have access to safe and nutritious food to maintain healthy and active life. But is it actually happening or not? That needs to be seen. Now, there are challenges to food security. World population is likely to reach 10 billion by 2050. India is going to be world's most populous country with 1.45 billion by 2028. You will be surprised to know that population explosion has caused a lot of problem. Villages are losing their agrarian identity due to fast urbanization, industrialization, resulting in land crunch, which is a serious crisis. In Gurgaon, where from I come, most of the villages have been converted into concrete jungles to accommodate the growing millions. Another important factor is climate change to cause up to 30% reduction in South Africa, up to 10% loss in South Asia. Rising cost and buying capacity, that is very, very important. All people cannot purchase, the prices are rising. And most important thing is the heavy losses due to plant diseases, insect pests, weeds, abiotic stress, and physiological disorder. Now, I'm going to concentrate on this issue because of the fact that even if you are going to save 1% loss, we can feed millions. As I said, world 10 most populous countries, 6 are in Asia. India is to equal China by 2028 and going to be 1.45 billion. Now, this is not a good sign, especially for India. By 2050, world population is likely to reach 10 billion, and to feed them, production need to be doubled. Now, this is not a very important task, easy task. However, food production not likely to increase the way population is increasing. Shortage in production, hike in price, leading to unequal distribution. This is one of the important causes. Now, as I said, I am going to deal with the plant pests, how they are affecting the crops and how losses are taking place. Now, if you'll see that losses from field to fork due to plant pests globally is around 40%. In India, the losses are about 22.8 billion every year. You are already aware that several diseases and pests have caused calamities in the world, epiphytotics that have changed the history of mankind. You are familiar with late blight of potato, the Irish famine, which was responsible for mass migration to US. 1 million people died of it, and then the food law was also changed. Now, this was a very, very important disease. Again, coffee rust devastated coffee plantation in Sri Lanka, and coffee plantation shifted to Brazil, and people started growing tea in Sri Lanka. Similarly, in India, brown leaf spot disease was one of the most important diseases which was responsible for Bengal famine. Thank you very much. I was thinking why my voice is low. Of course, my voice has gone low. Thank you very much. Now, these are some of the examples how the plant diseases have committed calamities and have affected the life of common man. Now, the question arises how to assure food security. Can we manage population explosion? Can we increase arable area? Not possible. Can we check urbanization? Still not possible. Can we check industrialization and agricultural land? Not possible, because the population is growing so fast naturally. The urbanization is going to take place and industrialization is going to take. Population is a very sensitive issue. Only regulatory measures, political will, social awareness and commitment can help to curb population increase. It's not an easy task, especially in most of the countries. Now, increasing productivity by innovative means, host resistance, these are some of the techniques which can be adopted. Reducing losses through pest monitoring, timely diagnostic and advisory support from plant health clinic. Producing more, the last thing which is more important from the plant protection wise point of view is, we should produce more and lose less. That is, now food grain production I have just tried to show you in India. India's population and food grain production I have just tried to show you. Now, these are some of the means I have tried that how production can be increased. Host resistance, biotechnology, most of you are familiar. Organic agriculture, good agricultural practices, IPM, pesticide, shedding over-dependence. We are not recommending pesticide, but over-dependence on pesticide has to be, because that is one thing which is going to affect the biodiversity. Now, increased production, if we are increasing the production, the cost is going to be cheaper and can be within the reach of the common man. And the most important point is strengthening plant health care. This is one thing which is lacking in most of the places, and many a times due to lack of timely diagnosis, the crop losses take place and yield is reduced. Now, these are some of the things most of you are familiar. I am not going to talk about this. Biotechnology is one of the areas. Organic farming people are practicing, but this cannot be a substitute. This is especially in areas where people are having more money can go for organic farming, but this is not a solution. Integrated crop management, this is one thing which one has to follow. Good agricultural practices and holistic management of pests, what we call it as integrated pest management. Fungicides I have listed, and I'll talk about it, why fungicides are important. My Nigerian friend will certainly say that if you are using external inputs, they are going to affect the biodiversity. But then there are situations you need food also, and therefore you can go for use of fungicides, but then you have to be very cautious. Now, please look at the following paper which I have written, where I have not advocated, I am not a staunch supporter of pesticide, nor I am going to be where I have indicated plant physicians, pesticides and environment. This is published in Agro News. And I have said one thing, this is very important, I'll just like to ventilate my feeling before you. When somebody is ill and goes to the doctor prescribes medicines. Now at that moment of time, if he suggests that take less of food, take rest, that will not be the solution. If there are certain problems, medicine has to be given. If you are suffering from certain problem, if you are not getting sleep, you are suffering from insomnia, and naturally sleeping pills will be provided. But if you are taking more than the desired amount, naturally you are going to suffer. So there are certain situations where a pesticide has to be recommended, but we have to go for the use of pesticide very cautiously. Now, pesticides are effective arsenals in plant disease management. They offer one of the best means of controlling plant diseases if used as per guideline of PAN, FRAC and CIB. Avoid misuse and abuse. Now, this is very common in most of the countries. the pesticide misuse and abuse is common. Many of us really lack insight to materia medica of plant diseases and lesser familiar with modern pesticides. I like to tell you that especially fourth generation pesticides are very, very effective and are used in very small doses, and they can be used if situation so desired. Pesticides are integral component of IPM. I don't say that you always rely upon pesticides, but wherever there is need. Now these are some of the pesticides. I have just tried to list it. Now you will be surprised to know there was a time when for downy mildew we used to go for copper fungicides only. But now we have fungicides which can offer effective control. Now alkyl phosphonate is one of them. Melanin biosynthesis inhibitor. Now this is a fungicide. If your rice crop is suffering from blast, you can use it very safely. Now these are some of the fungicides which I have listed. They are used in very, very small doses. And if you are using it with relative caution, the problem is going to vanish. Now this is, some of you must be familiar with rapeseed and mustard. White rust is there. Now this is one disease which can be controlled by phenylamide. No other pesticide can offer any relief. Now this is an important disease of wheat. Loose smut of wheat you must be familiar with. This is Karnal bunt, named after the place where it was first detected. Now it is appearing in most of the diseases. Now this is flag smut disease. Now all the three diseases, if take initial precaution, can be controlled by seed treatment only with tebuconazole. How to overcome challenges and provide food to everyone. Now this is very important. Technologies are available. Still technologies have not reached to the farmers. Remember it, at many places. So that is very important, that the technology must reach to the farmer. We have to empower the farmers. Farmers need to be empowered, use and develop innovative ways to produce more. Lack of timely diagnosis is a major reason for crop losses. This is very, very common. Most of the time when people are not able to diagnose the problem, and that's why the crops suffer. Hence, rally for commissioning of many more plant health clinics. Now this is very, very important. I'll like to discuss this. In India, National Horticulture Mission has already helped in creation of over 128 plant health clinics, around 15 in Haryana state. Now plant health clinic are able to mitigate losses and increase productivities. The farmer's plight is when his crop fails due to lack of timely diagnosis and adoption of remedial measures. But farmers rejoice by bumper harvest when food security and improving livelihood. Plant health clinic comes to the rescue of the growers, provide timely diagnosis and remedial measures. Now, there should be a good linkage with development agencies, and the problem is solved. Now, plant health clinic are operating in many of the countries. They are operating at a fixed location in USA, Canada, UK, India. These operate at fixed location with their own physical identity and infrastructure. In other places, community-based plant clinics or walk-in plant clinics operating, which lack physical structures, and they are being operated in collaboration with GABI, Global Plant Clinic program. Now they are known as Plant-Wise since 2010. Now the only problem with the walk-in clinics is that they are virtually like medical camps, and people do not know when the next clinic is going to operate, and therefore it would be important if most of us request our government to go for permanent clinics like we have for animals and human beings. Now these plant clinics in plant health care, they have the multi-pronged activity and diagnosis and advisory against disease and pests. They help in monitoring of the diseases, plant health camp to combat prevailing and forthcoming challenges, and assured agrochemical knowledge input through linkage, empowering farmers on plant health care. This is very important. Now this is, I have just given the scenario of the how plant clinics are running in India, and I hope most of the other countries should follow suit. Now need for well-organized clinic, that's what I am emphasizing, and I'll request all the participants to see that their governments also come forward with permanent clinics like we have for human beings and cattle, so that farmers have not to roam here and there for the identification. Hence, organized clinic aimed at holistic wellness, vital to food security, providing diagnosis and remedies to all pests, make knowledge accessible to growers, training and producing plant doctors, this is also important, monitoring pest scenario for pest forecasting and biosecurity. Now, creation will not only serve the farmers, but elevate the image of plant doctors commanding same respect as physicians command in the society. The plant clinic can go for identification of various problems arising due to fungal, bacterial, viral diseases, phanerogrammic parasites, insect, weeds, chemical injury, mineral deficiency and toxicity. Now there are various such symptoms which are due to abiotic factors which are similar in nature, and farmers many a times commit mistake in taking care of, and therefore there is need of plant clinic. Now diagnosis, example, the sample, these are some of the things how one should go. Prescription is also very, very important as the diagnosis is. IPM should be borne in mind if essential recommend safe pesticide with least impact on biodiversity. I'll repeat it here, that is very important. For future guidance, emphasize IPM host resistance gap. Ask for follow-up visit for apprising the clinic. Now this is, I have just given a kind of prescription which we used to give. Now this I have just mentioned the crop history, etc., diagnosis. Now here we had received a problem of flag smut. Now at that stage what is more important is the correct and right guidance is very important. If the farmer goes to the pesticide dealer, he will advocate use of this pesticide. The problem will not be solved and it will be extra burden on the farmer, and therefore the role of the plant doctor is there to give a correct guidance. I have written no corrective measure at this stage, this is very important. Gently uproot infected plants, place in a paper bag and burn. For future guidance I have written what you can do next year, that is very important. And then we are suggesting that pesticides are hazardous. Use only if advised. Better adopt IPM, which is affordable, safe to man and environment. Now this online plant health clinic, which I am providing the solution to the farmers online, free of cost, that is my plant health camps can be organized, which can be organized by the clinics, which can organize camps, offer diagnosis, organize lectures, film show, distribute relevant literature, that is very, very important. Electronic media and print media play a very, very important role. Timely warning, when you anticipate that the disease or pest is going to appear, that will do a good job. Bring educative and publicity material to enrich farmers' knowledge bank. Also, signage can be placed at focal point in rural areas to attract the attention of the growers. Resort to SMS to farmers. Now, what could be the future strategies? I have just tried to list some of them, and most of the countries can modify them as per their need. We always say that think globally, act locally. Adopt multi-pronged approach, avoiding unnecessary application of fertilizers and pesticides which are likely to impact biodiversity. Let us create clinic which can heal the wound of the farmers by rendering plant health care against all pests. Saving 1% loss can feed millions. Let's diversify plant clinics in rural sector. That is very important. Here the government is not paying so much of attention, the kind of attention that has been paid in creation of human clinics and plant veterinary clinics. Lack of early diagnosis has been a major factor towards losses, hence creation of well-organized clinic on the analogy of human clinics providing free services will be true gift to the growers to save the crops from losses and boost food security. Creation of such clinics at focal point in urban and rural areas sectors will revolutionize plant health care, laying foundation of national plant health services. By rendering such services on plant health, the practitioner will command the same respect and recognition as physician in the society. Now this is just I have shown the farmers visit the plant clinics. Initially the farmers is in distress. When disease-free, rich harvest brings a smile on the faces of the farmers. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patient hearing. Thank you very much.